I'm going to ask each of you to introduce yourself and what you do there at the dealership. And so, David, why don't we start with you?
So my name's David Orr. I've been here for 7 years. Came over as a sales manager, and now I'm the general manager. So been doing that for, I don't know, 3+ years now, I think. And that's what I've been doing. Primarily my role is obviously, running the business, but I have a big focus on whole good sales, and really looking to market and develop the newer territory, right? So if we're wanting to see a big push into the Snake River Basin, then that's what I'll spend a lot more time up that way. The first couple years that we were with the customer Dan and Alexis are at right now, we've spent a lot of time just focusing on what we need to do to keep them better and that type of stuff. So, but that's basically I'm the GM.
Yeah. And Daniel, tell us a little bit about what you do at the dealership.
So I'm Daniel Avalar. I've been here 4 years now. Sales, try to focus, growing the dairy market side of things. I grew up on a dairy farm, and then we know a couple of the custom guys pretty well. Been dealing with swathers on that end. So, yep, just sales.
Kind of the big thing we're talking about is this big success you had in converting a customer. Could I have one of you describe that customer and their operation and kind of set the table for what we're going to talk to about how you guys changed the day over there?
Yeah, so it's Rock Bottom Custom is the customer. He was a childhood friend with Daniel. Him and Dan grew up together. They knew each other. I had done business with Davey on a used skid steer, I don't know, 7-8 years before this. But kind of a high maintenance guy and but a good guy. He doesn't throw a temper tantrum to throw a temper tantrum. He gets upset when shit don't work. And his philosophy is, I buy new equipment so I don't have problems. So Dan came on board about 3.5 years ago or so. He needed to add a swather to his operation. He was at that time running 5 Massey 9980s, I think.
4. I think 4.
He was running 4. He was adding a 5th.
Adding a 5th. Yep. And then now we're at 6.
So he was, thank you, Dan. He was at 4 running Massey's. Had some service and parts issues with Massey. Nothing weird, nothing that we felt was like crazy. But he just didn't feel like the dealership was supporting him the way they should. He really didn't like some of the maintenance stuff on the Massey's. Him and Dan being childhood friends, he says, "Hey Dan, I know you're selling swathers now. Let's give it a shot." So if you ask Davey, he will point blank tell you, I bought that first swather because of Daniel, 100%. That's the only reason he bought it. Knock on wood, it went good. The machine worked, everything ran, everything operated. The times that we went down, I felt like our team was super responsive. That fall, we kind of sat down and said, "Hey, we want them all. Like, if you want to do something, let's do something." So at that time, we quoted him. 5 New Holland SR260 swathers. New Holland was
4 because he wanted to get out of the Massey's. He was going to keep the 1-year-old because at this point in his rotation, he was planning on keeping them anywhere between 2 to 4 years. He started gaining a lot more custom work, and so the plan was, hey, well, let's run. It's only a year old. Let's run the older style New Holland, and then quote 4 new pluses. He's only got 350 acres here. We'll probably finish that today, if not in the morning, and then he'll move back closer to home. We're about an hour away from where he typically works, further west. But yeah, we'll get some good footage of all 6 machines in the field, and it's crazy. They'll mow down 160 acres in pretty short time frame, and like I said, that's his big theory is He's very numbers driven. Every part of his business, him and his wife have it broke down to spreadsheets, and they know what it costs to do X amount of acres. And he tells all his operators, like, this is our target for acres in a day. Like, this is what we need to do to keep our business running. You guys want to run new equipment every year. Well, this is what we have to do to make that work. So, it's quite an impressive operation that he runs.
So we worked him an option basically to roll him out every year. Keep those machines fresh. He ended up putting about 1,200 hours on them.
I have between 12 and 1350 per season.
So about 5 weeks into this, the 2023 season, came to us and said, hey, I need to add a machine. So at that point, we sold him a 6 machine.
No, he traded out because there was quite a bit of upgrades from our SR260 to our SR260 Plus. So he just said, instead of running it out, I'm way more hours than I thought I was going to have. Let's swap out the first original SR260 for a 260 Plus to make 5 pluses, and then just to keep all of his parts inventory, serviceability, everything the same. So that would have been season 2 with us. 4 started from the beginning, and then about halfway through second cutting alfalfa, we took in the original machine on trade, making it 5 pluses. And then last year is when he needed to add one. We did 6, and then this season we just did 6 as well.
So some big contributors on my end that I feel like really helped sway this was the relationship with the salesman. That's where it all started. That's in my opinion, is still where it is. Don't get me wrong, Dan and I have a lot of good friends in this business, and one thing that we know is if we don't perform, our friendship doesn't mean squat. So some big contributors on my end that I feel like really helped sway this was the relationship with the salesman. That's where it all started. That's in my opinion, is still where it is. Don't get me wrong, Dan and I have a lot of good friends in this business, and one thing that we know is if we don't perform, our friendship doesn't mean squat.
Dave's made it very well known to New Holland, to David, myself, he gave me an opportunity on the first one, but what we did with that as a whole, between our parts and our service and our management, is why he keeps coming back. Like David said, he is a high priority for us. He spends a lot of money with us every year. For instance, today it's a startup. We're here. It's just little stuff like he goes, I know the machine. If it's a Saturday night, if it's Sunday morning, he knows if he calls our service manager, he's going to answer, and either he's going to have one of his guys there, or if his other guys are on, emergency calls, the service manager comes out and works on it. So I think we've done a really good job as a team to just continue to grow that business. Because of that, it's led into, Thunder Creek fuel trailers, a T7 tractor, a smaller boom tractor. It's because of the service that we give him with it. It's really grown a lot of business.
Was he doing much business with you, but prior to this, getting the shot on this first machine?
No business.
No business.
No business. Yep. Wow. And now you've got him into these forage harvesters and
no
other things too.
Nope. We just have him in swathers. And then he bought his first New Holland tractor. Now he's got 2 New Holland tractors, 6 New Holland swathers, I think 6 fuel trailers.
Wow.
4 Thunder Creeks, and then some air compressors that we sell. Soul Air, but now we're carrying the new line and he's set to purchase 2 of those here next month. So pretty good book of business.